Welcome to Networked, the show where we introduce you to the people and businesses around North Central Washington. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, and today I'm excited to introduce you to two different entrepreneurs offering unique sips and salsas in the greater Wenatchee Valley. Joining me in studio will be Mima Cole and Bryan Noyd. Don't go away. I'll be right back after this brief commercial break to introduce you to Bryan Noyd, his new business, and their location down at Pybus Public Market. Hello, North Central Washington, and welcome to Networked. So excited to introduce our first guest on today's show, local entrepreneur Bryan Noyd with Archibald James. Welcome to Networked.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really excited. We've had the opportunity to get to know each other a little bit through the nonprofit over the years. But for those who may not know you, I'd love for you to kind of start with a little bit about your story. You're a Wenatchee guy.
Yeah.
Been in the community a long time.
Grew up here.
Yes. Okay.
And then left. Thought it was pretty dull growing up and that it was a pretty small town. So I left for about 12 years and went away to school and worked in California. Started my career as the women's rowing coach for University of Southern California.
Oh.
So that kind of set the die in terms of wanting to coach people, and then applied it in a number of business ventures and moved back to the area.
So fast forward, you've had some hospitality businesses in the valley over the years, but kind of moved on from them to start a new business.
Yeah.
In Cidar, Archibald James. Tell me about that business, what it is, and a little bit about that origin story.
Sure, yeah. I was in the fast food business for 25 years. We owned Dusty's. We were the Central Washington Arby's franchisees. And 6 years ago, sold those. Like a lot of businesses, there's consolidation with larger franchisees, and a national franchisee came knocking and asked if we would sell. And the time was right, and I didn't know exactly what the future held, but it was a retirement of sorts. It wasn't to just go directly into cider or wine. That was just one of many things that were in my head that, hey, we live in the Apple capital. You know, maybe we should have more choices for cider, specifically. Funny thing is that there were probably 6 others that had that thought bubble at the same time, and we all started about the same time. But
which is exciting because it rides right. I feel like just like the wine, we're getting really known to be a wine region. So the more winemakers we have out there, lifting the entire region, and as far as production and tourism, etc.
Yes. Actually, the more the better, because we become known for it. So, almost 4 years ago, I met my partner-to-be, Seth Cohen, who had a vast background in beverage making, wine making. He has his PhD in fermentation sciences, and he taught at Oregon State University and then started a program up in the University of North Carolina system. So all of those accomplishments, and what he really wanted to do is start his own business. So he came to visit a friend in this area, also scouting out potential locations, and fell in love with the recreation and the fruit. And we were just introduced by someone that knew. I'd said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if another cidery opened up? I'm kind of interested in that. And long story short, we agreed to work together in good faith for the first year without an agreement. And after a year, we made an agreement. But the idea was we would start a cidery with a winery, adjacent products. The cider making piece is very much like the winemaking piece. Cider is wine legally and technically. And the way that we make it, we feel they can be adjacent to one another, and there'll be synergy of them.
Yeah, you don't have to just be cider or just be wine.
Right.
And it really is, it really is a science and an art to transform an apple into cider or to wine or any other product.
Absolutely.
So I can see why having a PhD as part of your partnership team was
I did some background checking, went to the Washington State University cider making school, which was a week long, and I realized in a hurry that in restaurant parlance, I was the maitre d', not the chef.
Yeah.
and I knew if I wanted to do this, I'd have to find someone that had talent in that area, and I certainly did when Seth and I got together.
So now 4 years, 4 years from there, you are making cider and wine. Tell us a little bit about what makes your products unique, if people haven't had a chance to sample them.
So first of all, we're boutique style, meaning small.
Okay.
Seth is able to use sensory analysis on every single barrel, and that's the size we want to be. We want to be this boutique size cidery and winery, handcrafted, lot of attention. With respect to our cider, we like to tell our story of a couple ways that we're different than most. One is that we use cider and heirloom apples, not grocery store apples or eating apples, which this valley is certainly famous for. Those are sweeter. They're cosmetically perfect because they have to go in the grocery store and no one will pick them.
Right.
You know, and most ciders are made from those, and people source the culls from those apples. But we don't. We use cider and heirloom apples. Heirloom simply meaning old varietal. Cider, bittersweet, bitter sharp. Think like a crab apple, small, gnarly, twisted, potato-like skin, full of phenolics, tannins. It gives the cider maker a whole lot more latitude to make different products. So that's one way we're different. Another way we're different is, like wine, we barrel age all of our ciders a minimum of 6 months, some more than a year. And that's different than a lot of producers.
Because typically it gets to the market pretty fast, right?
Yes.
It's cider and beer. It's pretty fast.
Certain cider makers can turn a batch in less than a week.
Okay.
So it's just a difference, and we want people to know that, and obviously they have to validate it with tasting. And if they can't tell that it's different, then I'd recommend you buy the cheaper one, because we can't possibly do it, you know, as inexpensively as some of the large manufacturers.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you've got some really fun names and varietals in here. Peachy Cot, Heirloom, Field Blend, Wixton, Crabapple. The list goes on. So I want to talk about, how do people get to experience Archibald James? You've got a new venture to showcase your products. So let's talk a little bit about Off the Hill.
Sure. Let me preface that just a little bit. The last couple years were difficult for a lot of businesses, particularly difficult if you were a startup business, which our timing could have been better, I suppose, but right before COVID hit, we opened a tasting room in Leavenworth. And so through the pandemic, we worked hard to keep the business alive. It kind of hibernated. Our business plan was on pause, and Seth, his wife Leah, my wife Cindy, and I really kept it going, as opposed to building the small team that our business plan had imagined. And so we just put it on pause. We, at the end of last year, decided to close that tasting room, and at the same time, we were talking to our prospective partners to Milk Creek Winery, and I need to explain the connection there. A couple years ago, Seth, my partner, consulted with Kyle and Jen Matheson about their winery, and long story short, they asked him if he would be their winemaker. Well, we were in a small outbuilding, a startup small outbuilding in Kashmir, and that commute to Stamil Hill was something Seth couldn't do. So they offered us production space adjacent to them on Stamil Hill. So there's a connection there. We both had interest in Pybus, but we were unable to get in there for a number of reasons prior to that possibility opening up this year. We put our heads together and said, well, Pybus requires that you're open 7 days a week, at least 8 hours a day, and for one small business, that's an onerous amount of fixed cost labor and so forth. Why don't we share it? So the idea was born. We went through the application process. We produce adjacent to one another on Stamil Hill, and so off the hill, we bring our product off the hill down to Pybus, and we're just so excited at what Pybus has grown into. It seems to be the perfect balance of locals and visitors, and you need both in our business. So we just have gotten started. Last 2 weeks.
I was going to say, it's just opened. It's congratulations, and it's a beautiful space. You've done a great job with the build out. Even create a little outdoor space to enjoy products. So how can people find you? We've mentioned Pybus and a little bit about their requirements and hours. You're open 7 days a week?
We are.
Okay.
We are just learning the pulse of the business, the seasonality, even during the week, let alone months of the year and so forth. So we'll figure that out. But we know we'll be open 8 hours a day. We know people aren't drinking much at lunchtime. It's something that we have to figure out is how to merchandise our sales, our off-premise sales during that time. But what we really would like to do is be known for having our hours into the evening. Probably 12 to 8 is what we're thinking, but we want to do that consistently so people know that we'll be open.
They can come down after work.
Before or after dinner, one of the places to eat at Pybus, or so that's our goal, and the feedback already has been good in that regard. That it's great to have somewhere to go in the evening.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
I know
you.
we're running out of time before we have to head out, but next time we'll have to have Seth on and do some sampling, because I love to incorporate that into our show here on Networked. Thanks so much, Bryan. And for our audience, go check out Off the Hill. It's at Pybus Public Market in Wenatchee. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. And welcome back to Networked. I have our second entrepreneur we are highlighting today, Mima Cole from Mima's Famous Salsa. Welcome to Network.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we just were talking with Archibald James about cider and wine, and of course you're going to need some great chips and salsa when you're enjoying beverages.
Yes,
so let's dive into your business.
Yes.
Before we talk all about the salsa and what you're doing, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my parents are from Central America. They immigrated in the early 60s and met in San Francisco and created me.
Aww.
And I was talking to Mom yesterday, and she's almost 90, dementia a little bit, and she says, represent us well, so ta-da.
I love that. It's beautiful. I love the embroidery.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I grew up in San Francisco in the Mission District. My first language is Spanish. Went to kindergarten not knowing any English. And my best friend was a little Chinese girl, so I learned all about Chinese, and love serving the community and making good salsa, healthy food, because we love good food.
Good food is. I'm right there with you. I enjoy myself some good food. Now, fast forward from San Francisco, the Bay Area, such a big, lively city, to North Central Washington.
Yeah.
When did you get up to this area?
In '82.
Okay.
To Bremerton.
Okay.
Yeah. In my past life, I was a Navy wife for a moment. Yeah. And my husband's from Bremerton.
Okay.
So we met there and eventually made it out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, every entrepreneur has, I feel like, a lot of stories and past lives before they get to the journey they're on now. when did you start your salsa business?
So the business started in 2019 officially. We made our first delivery to Lone Pine in Orondo July 3rd of 2019. Prior to that, forever, like 25 years, we made it for friends and family, and everybody just kept saying, you got to put this on the market, put this on the market. Well, I was a homeschool mom, you know, and that pretty much took up a lot of my time.
Right.
And so we decided when the last child is a senior in high school, that's when we will blow this thing up, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, similar to, I think, Archibald James opened right before the pandemic, so it's been a hard couple of years to navigate this new business space. And you've got a business, of course, that's really regulated. I mean, serving food products for public consumption.
Yes.
So, you know, how did you go about that process? You know, right? You can't just make it in your home and go out and sell to the public, which some people think you can.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Oh, this is homemade. The recipe came from family and friends, and you know, but we do make it in a commercial kitchen. We spent 1.5 years building our own commercial kitchen, so we have that on our property, which is really cool because you know you can walk out there and create. And but the process of getting to the point of figuring out what to do is kind of difficult because, you know, you don't have a cookie cutter process for things like our salsa.
Right.
So we're regulated by Washington State Department of Agriculture. There are we what's the word? They're our inspector. Yeah. Not the health department. Like most restaurants, you know, they answer to, that's the word I was looking for, answer to the health department more. And then, of course, all the other licensing and permits that go along with everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so you've gotten those big pieces done.
Yeah.
What, you know, where's your business now? What, I know you've got some exciting announcements going on
we
too.
Do.
Yeah. So what's happening now with Mima's Famous Salsa?
Okay. So yesterday,
yes,
we found out we got approved by WSDA to put our cabbage on the market, which has been, you know, like we polled our customers. And we started out with our medium salsa. Then some said we want a mild. And then we were like, okay, what's the next thing you'd like to see? And they said a cabbage. And so it's been like a year of waiting for the cabbage to make it on the market. And we have the go.
That is huge.
I know, we're super excited.
Congratulations. Well, it goes back to what we were just talking about. It goes through agriculture regulation, not the same as even what a restaurant goes through, which they have, of course, a lot of safety requirements as well. But it's a big thing to bring a stable product that people can buy and take home, whether it's refrigerated or non-refrigerated.
Yes.
So that's
ours
huge.
is refrigerated.
Okay.
So you'll find it like in the deli case near cheeses or in the veggies or somewhere where it can be refrigerated.
That's awesome. So you're expanding your product line.
Yes. Yep.
And where are you selling it? Where do people find your products?
Well, we have over 20 locations throughout Chelan and Douglas counties. So if they can go to our website, that would be the best place to find it.
Okay.
Because like I said, and we also provide it for cideries and restaurants. So we do a lot of, mostly wholesale. We're 80% wholesale and about 20% farmers markets.
Okay, and for the retail side out to the general customer.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, you know, you said there's such a demand from family and friends for years. Obviously, you love salsa. What makes yours unique? What is the secret sauce, or you know, that goes into?
So most salsas out there are pretty runny, and the base is tomato juice, and most people don't know that. Ours isn't. Our salsa stays on your chip, and every bite is amazingly delicious, and you just want to dip for a second.
Yeah.
Just ask our customers.
That is awesome. And I've had it. It is very delicious. What advice would you offer to maybe other entrepreneurs? You talked earlier about how there was no business model for you to follow to start a salsa business.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to get into, a food product business or any business, what are some of the things that you've learned along the way?
So one of my first things that I recommend is the small business. SBDC.
Yeah, Small Business Development Center.
Development Center.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a lot of acronyms when you start getting into business. Small business. Yes.
Yeah. So they're a really good foundation, and then other businesses in the area, getting connected, getting networking, and through the whole process of getting to know people and other businesses, someone will connect you to what you need. Or want or are looking for. And one of our mottos is as we go along, we also like to take someone along with us. So we're always promoting somebody else, I had somebody contact me the other day. They're like, they want to put out their barbecue sauce, and they're like, you've arrived. I'm like, not so much, but yes, okay, thank you.
Right. That's gotta feel good though.
To be
in the spot where other entrepreneurs are just like, can you give me some advice?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
And so so like I gave him a little list of, these are some of the things to look forward to, and because everybody talks about becoming famous or whatever, but there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go along with it,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Now, talking about networking, you've come to a lot of the Tech Alliance events. Yeah. I know the EDD, North Central Washington EDD, you've also been really connected to.
I'm executive board for them, representing the underrepresented community. So that came along from, I was first year alumni for Supernova,
which is such a cool program.
Yeah, through North Central Washington Economic Development District.
Okay.
So now it's in its third year, and I was asked to be on the board after being an alumni. And it's just been incredible to you don't have to be the top winner to be a winner.
I love that mentality.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you just said too about like bringing others with you. So you went through the Supernova program, just high level. It really helps entrepreneurs and startups. It's a competition, but it also helps you grow a stronger business model, right?
Yes.
Is that a good summary?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So you get the opportunity to compete, but you're learning more about your business along the way. I love that having completed that process yourself, you're now giving back by supporting the board and helping other entrepreneurs through their process.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
It goes so fast on air. It's been really fun to have you. If someone wants to get in contact with you, they watch today, they're really excited about what you offer and your salsa. What's the best way to get connected?
We have a website, mimasfamoussalsa.com. Yep. And we're on Facebook and Instagram with the same addresses.
Okay.
So, and our phone number's on the website.
Awesome. And are you doing local deliveries, just to kind of build on that? Although you're doing a lot of wholesale, so you're delivering out in the community.
Since 1999, NCW Tech Alliance has served as our regional hub for technology innovation. As a 501c3, their nonprofit mission is to connect people and technology resources to create a thriving community. You can network with the team and guests from today's show by visiting them at www.ncwtech.org.